How to be happy alone. You ever sit in silence so loud it crushes your chest? That moment when you realize no one's texting, no one's calling, and you're just there, alone. It breaks most people. But let me tell you something real. That pain, that silence, that emptiness, it's the forge. It's where warriors are built. See, happiness alone isn't about pretending you're fine. It's about owning your solitude so hard, the world wonders how you did it. Most people are scared to be alone because when it's just you and your thoughts, there's no one left to blame. But if you face that darkness, you'll find power. You'll realize happiness never came from them, the parties, the fake laughs. It was always about becoming the person who doesn't need anyone to feel full. Be the one who walks alone and still walks tall. Let loneliness build your discipline, your vision, your edge. When you master being alone, you master life. Because the truth is, no one's coming to save you. So save yourself. Love your own company so fiercely that anyone else is a bonus, not a necessity. That's the path of kings. Most people hear the word solitude and they flinch. They associate it with loneliness, isolation, and weakness. They think if you're alone, it means you're broken, unwanted, or somehow failing at life. But that's the lie society feeds you because it's terrified of people who don't need validation. The truth is, solitude is not weakness, it's your sharpening stone. It's the place where you stop pretending and start becoming. When you're alone, there's no crowd to impress, no mask to wear, no distractions to numb the pain. It's just you, raw and exposed. And in that rawness, greatness is born. Solitude is where the real work happens. The work no one claps for. It's where you sit with your flaws, your past, your regrets, and instead of running from them, you confront them like a warrior. Most will drown in that silence. But the strong, they rise. You learn to control your thoughts, not let them control you. You stop relying on noise to feel alive and start relying on purpose. You realize you don't need people to like you when you respect yourself. You don't need company when you're building a future. Solitude becomes your gym, your battlefield, your temple. It becomes the mirror that shows you what you're really made of. When you choose solitude, you choose discomfort. But that's where growth lives, in discomfort. Solitude forces you to build habits, routines, and discipline because there's no one around to distract you or babysit you. You wake up and decide, am I going to waste today feeling sorry for myself, or am I going to build something real? That's the kind of mindset solitude demands. You build your mind like a fortress. You sharpen your emotions like a blade. You stop blaming others and start holding yourself accountable for everything. That's power. That's where strength is born, not in applause, but in silence. People will look at you and think you've gone cold. They'll say, why don't you hang out anymore? Why are you so distant? But they don't see the fire you're building inside. You're not isolating yourself. You're evolving. And evolution isn't always pretty. It's painful. It's lonely, but it's worth it. When you come out the other side, you're untouchable. You've trained your mind in solitude to stay calm under pressure, to think clearly when chaos erupts, to move with purpose when others freeze. That's the edge solitude gives you. It makes you self-sufficient. It makes you dangerous in a world full of dependence. In solitude, you learn to enjoy your own company, and when that happens, you stop settling. You stop tolerating half-hearted friendships, fake love, and shallow distractions. You raise your standards, not out of arrogance, but out of clarity. You know what you bring to the table because you built the table. You don't chase people, you attract what aligns with you. You don't cling to what's comfortable. You're already comfortable being alone. And that makes you the most powerful kind of person. Not emotionally numb, but emotionally untouchable. You feel everything, but nothing controls you. Solitude gives you the space to create. Your body, your mind, your business, your vision. It gives you time to think deeper, plan smarter, execute better. While others are caught in endless loops of distraction and dependency, you're moving in silence. You're making sacrifices most wouldn't dare make. And when results show up, They'll call it luck. They won't see the nights you spent building in silence, bleeding into your purpose, becoming the version of you that doesn't need to be saved because you already saved yourself. So don't let anyone shame you for walking alone. Let them talk. Let them misunderstand. You weren't born to blend in with the broken. You were born to rebuild from the ashes, and solitude is where that fire starts. It's not weakness. It's your sharpening stone. Every second you spend alone with purpose is a strike of the blade. Sharpen yourself until you're unbreakable. And when the world finally sees you rise, they'll wonder how you did it. They'll never understand, but you will, because you chose the path of solitude, and that path, though silent, echoes forever. Happiness is something everyone chases, yet so few truly understand where it comes from. Most people look outward at wealth, relationships, status, or approval to find that elusive feeling. They think if someone likes them, if they get that promotion, or if they have more followers, they will finally feel happy. But that is a trap. Chasing external validation is like chasing smoke. The moment you grab at it, it slips away. True, lasting happiness doesn't start with what others think of you. It starts with mastering yourself. External validation is fleeting and unreliable because it is always out of your control. People's opinions change like the wind. What makes someone love you today might make them indifferent tomorrow. Relying on others for happiness means handing over the keys to your well-being and giving them the power to build you up or tear you down. That's a dangerous game. The highs of approval come with inevitable lows of disappointment when the approval disappears. This roller coaster drains your energy and leaves you feeling powerless and empty at times. Self-mastery, on the other hand, requires discipline and honesty with yourself. It means confronting your flaws, fears, and weaknesses without excuses or distractions. It means sitting in silence with your thoughts and being willing to grow beyond your current self. This journey is not comfortable. It requires grit. You must build mental strength like a muscle, training your mind daily to reject negativity, doubt, and dependency on others. It means learning to respond to setbacks with resilience instead of despair, to setbacks as lessons rather than failures. When you master yourself, your sense of worth comes from within. You stop asking for permission or validation because you already know your value. You don't need external applause to feel accomplished. This internal validation is much more reliable and empowering. It means you can be content in your own skin, enjoy your own company, and live life on your own terms. The level of happiness is not dependent on what you have or who you're with. It is a state of being that comes from deep self-respect and alignment with your purpose. This doesn't mean ignoring your feelings or pretending to be happy all the time. It means understanding emotions, managing them effectively, and not being hostage to them. Self-mastery means you take control of your thoughts and channel your energy into positive growth. You learn to set boundaries, not just with others, but with yourself. You stop tolerating toxic influences and habits because you respect yourself enough to protect your mental and emotional well-being. In practical terms, building self-mastery means daily commitment to habits that strengthen your mind and body. It might mean journaling your thoughts to understand them better, meditating to gain control over your mind, exercising to discipline your body, or reading to expand your knowledge. It means saying no to distractions, addictions, and negative influences. It means setting goals and relentlessly working toward them with focus and determination. Over time, these small, consistent efforts compound into a powerful force that builds a life where happiness is natural because you're living with purpose and control. Happiness that depends on external validation is fragile, conditional, and temporary. It puts your emotional well-being in the hands of others and circumstances you cannot control. Happiness that comes from self-mastery, however, is deep, durable, and empowering. It means you are your own source of joy and strength. You stop needing approval and start living by your own rules. You become the captain of your ship in any storm. And that kind of happiness isn't just a feeling, it's freedom. Freedom from needing anyone to tell you you're enough because you already know it. And that knowledge changes everything. If you can be happy alone, you're unstoppable with others. This is one of the most powerful truths you can embrace in life. Most people fear solitude because they associate it with loneliness, emptiness, or failure. They believe happiness only comes when they are surrounded by people, approval, and constant social interaction. But the reality is the exact opposite. When you learn to be happy alone, you develop a foundation so strong that nothing or no one can shake your confidence, your peace, or your direction. You become truly unstoppable in every aspect of life. Being happy alone means you've mastered the art of self-sufficiency on an emotional level. You don't need someone else's validation, presence, or approval to feel whole. This independence creates a sense of freedom few ever experience. When you rely on others for your happiness, you give away your power. Your mood becomes a pendulum, swinging between approval and rejection, acceptance and abandonment. But when you cultivate happiness from within, you create a steady core that remains intact no matter what is happening outside. When you are comfortable alone, you develop clarity about who you are and what you want. Without the noise and distractions of others' opinions, you learn to listen to your own voice. You understand your values, your goals, and your boundaries deeply. This self-awareness allows you to navigate relationships more intelligently. You don't settle for toxic or draining connections because you know your own company is enough. You don't cling out of fear or need. You connect out of choice and strength. This makes your relationships healthier, more meaningful, and more empowering. Being happy alone also means you've built emotional endurance. You can handle silence, boredom, and discomfort without reaching for distractions. This emotional strength makes you unstoppable in any group or partnership. Because you don't rely on others to fix your mood or fill your void, you contribute from a place of fullness rather than neediness. This changes the dynamics completely. Instead of being codependent or needy, you become supportive, inspiring, and confident. People want to be around you because you're not draining their energy, you're adding to it. Moreover, happiness alone sharpens your independence in practical ways. You learn to enjoy your own decisions without second-guessing them through the lens of others' opinions. You become decisive because you trust yourself. This decisiveness is a powerful tool in leadership, career, and social settings. People follow those who are sure of themselves, who don't waver under pressure or seek constant reassurance. When you're happy alone, your confidence becomes magnetic, and that makes you unstoppable. There's also a creative and productive edge to being happy alone. When you're content with your own company, you can spend time focusing on your personal growth, goals, and passions without distraction. You don't waste energy trying to please or fit in. Instead, you channel your energy into building your skills, improving your mindset, and expanding your vision. This focus creates momentum that others can't match because it comes from a deep well of intrinsic motivation. Being happy alone means you're constantly leveling up, preparing yourself to thrive in any social or professional environment. Another critical aspect is that being happy alone builds a filter for the company you keep. When you don't need anyone to complete you, you become more selective about who earns the privilege of being in your life. You refuse to settle for surface-level connections or energy vampires. This selectiveness leads to a tribe of genuine people who respect you and support your growth. That tribe becomes your true network and power base. When you're unstoppable alone, your relationships become strategic alliances that elevate you further. On the flip side, when you depend on others for happiness, you limit yourself. You constantly adapt to their moods, opinions, and availability. You become reactive instead of proactive. Your self-worth fluctuates with their presence or absence. This creates instability and drains your energy. You are vulnerable to manipulation, disappointment, and distraction. In contrast, when you are happy alone, you create a stable emotional base that empowers you to engage with others on your terms, not theirs. Being happy alone is not about being antisocial or cold. It's about being emotionally whole, resilient, and self-aware. It means you can enjoy solitude without fear or discomfort. It means you have cultivated inner peace and joy that no external circumstance can diminish. This inner state allows you to bring your best self into every relationship and social situation. You're not needy, anxious, or insecure. You're calm, confident, and present. This makes you unstoppable because you lead with your true power instead of your fears or dependencies. When you finally understand that happiness comes from mastering your own mind and emotions, you unlock a level of freedom and strength few ever reach. You become a force that can weather any storm, handle any challenge, and inspire those around you. Being happy alone is the ultimate form of self-respect and self-love. It's the foundation on which all unstoppable success is built. When you're unshakably happy alone, you don't just survive with others. You thrive, dominate, and lead. And that's the kind of unstoppable power that changes your life forever. When you reach the point where you can truly be happy alone, everything in your life changes. You no longer look for others to fill a void because you filled it yourself. This self-sufficiency makes you fearless. You're not desperate for approval, companionship, or validation, so you carry yourself